let's talk about dating apps. What was our experience with dating apps?
Zero. There were none. Well,
we predate
dating apps.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Because when did the first dating apps?
Well, this feels like a trap question. Because they dating apps, actually the first dating website, as Melissa informed me earlier, came out the year we were married, which then became a hot button of when were we married. I know that, 1995. And this is where I would make the joke of June 21st, because earlier in a previous episode, I may or may not have gotten our anniversary date wrong. But I do know July 21st, 1995, which happens to be the first year that I think it was it Match.com? What was the first?
I believe it was.
Yeah,
I believe that was the first.
Yeah. We did not experience dating apps, but we're going to dive into this because our girls have experienced dating apps, or some of our friends have experienced dating apps. And I think you have helped many of your clients sort of navigate the, let's call it world of dating apps. We won't call it the wonderful world or the whatever.
Because there are definitely pros and cons to it. And I hear both. I know of some people, and some of the people we have in common that have met and formed very valuable in marriages that have lasted over a decade.
I believe we have a family member who found their particular spouse.
A couple, actually.
We have to dig into that. I'm curious who the other 3 are. I'm thinking of one. We don't have to give their names. Although I don't. That's actually kind of interesting. I think back in the day, it was a little bit of a taboo or some sort of funny that, wow, you met your dating, somebody you met online. Yeah. Now it's like, wait, how else would you meet somebody? So I don't think there used to be a taboo around that. And I don't think that.
A stigma.
Yeah, there we go. That's a better word for it.
Yeah, a stigma that people did not tell. They didn't say how they would make something else.
So it used to be taboo and there's a stigma about it.
Yeah.
Okay. English language there.
Yeah.
So what are some of the reported benefits of dating apps? Because I'm going to make the argument that there are no benefits to it, but you're going to correct me and show me what the benefits are. So what are the benefits from your point of view?
Well, there's a larger pool of potential people. You can only meet so many people, but if you're online, there's a lot more access. If you're on one of these sites, you can look at a page, hundreds in a day.
Yeah, for sure. I'll give you that one. I'll concede that one.
You will?
A larger pool.
Okay. And then you also have the compatibility matching. You put in your likes, you put in your dislikes, and they come up with potential partners for you. And maybe it narrows it because there are too many if you were to look at absolutely everybody. But if you have an important list of what you seek in a partner, you're a wine lover, so you want somebody else that loves wine. You wouldn't go with somebody that's a teetotaler.
Yeah, that is the promise of the algorithms. I think the reality of the algorithms is they don't work very well. But yes, that is the promise of dating apps, is that there's a compatibility matching component. I think there's lots of research that says the algorithms are not very good. Now, if you go back to the self-selecting and looking at your pool, yeah, you see more, so you probably have a higher hit rate. But reality is the algorithms don't actually work all that well. I think another one you brought up was and I'll put it in quotes, opportunity to get to know someone before you actually have to meet them. Why is that a benefit?
There might be something that wasn't listed on their profile that they mentioned while you're texting or you're FaceTiming that you're like, ooh, that's kind of a deal breaker for me. It gives you, I guess, more of a way to weed people out by being able.
Yeah, in a low pressure environment, right? It's a low risk. You can just block them and move on if you don't.
You could say, oh, I don't think we're a match. And then if they persist, then you can block.
Yeah. I mean, in a bar, you do the same thing though, right? You have that affinity in the first few seconds and you either block them and say, no, I'm not interested, you move on. But again, that's maybe a high pressure situation versus a low pressure situation if you got social anxiety or whatever.
Yeah, you'll miss something. But if you have something in writing that you can go back to and look at or replay, I see it as a potential, like you said, potential, because people can lie. I've had many people say, wow, they look nothing like their picture when we met in person.
Yeah, so a dating app doesn't solve the misrepresentation or the lying piece, but I mean, that's in person too. So I think the whole point is that these are potentials for positive outcomes. Let's talk about what the perceived cons are. I've already hit on some of the big cons.
Right, right. Well, the lack of a human aspect, body language, facial expressions, if you're doing mainly texting, you miss out on that. You're sitting across from somebody in the bar, you're going to see if they like have a reaction to something you just said. You are going to miss that if you're doing some of the online
Yeah,
dating.
so easy for someone to misrepresent themselves, easy for you to miss very basic tonal cues
Social
and
cues.
yeah, social cues because you don't have that in an app as much. And then I think there's also the potential that someone's going to cross boundaries in a digital world. I believe dick pics and all that would probably. I mean, if you have a whole term for something happening, it probably happens pretty often. And
Yes.
Taylor and I were talking. My daughter Taylor and I, who's for those of you just joining us, we have daughters in their 20s. And we were talking about this topic the other day. And I was picking her brain on some stuff. And she very subtly alluded to that without straight out saying that, she would ask, said, I asked for something. And then it's like, that is not what I asked for. So I think there's crossing digital boundaries pretty easily. And it's maybe that's less likely to happen in a public setting than it is on an app.
Right. Agreed.